Hi, good afternoon, everyone in Indonesia. Good morning if you're in the UK. Some people from Germany, hi, and France. And also good afternoon from teachers joining from Thailand and Vietnam. So glad to see you all again in our eighth Saturday TED Talk with British Council, Jodel, and iTELL. This is our eighth. We have out of 10 series. Yeah. Welcome back. It's glad you here. So many registered for the session. And we're going to have two speakers. One is from Indonesia and one from the UK. Grace from Indonesia and Marrie from the UK. So enjoy, prepare with your coffee. Yeah. Before that, I would like to introduce the first speaker. It's going to be Grace. Yeah. Chris is going to talk about turning simple learning activities into games, and Marrie later on is going to talk similar things, gamification in the classroom. Would like to introduce Chris in a minute. Hi, Grace.
Hello, Pak Jati, and hello, everyone.
Yeah, good to see you. Chris is currently work as an English language instructor in Institut Teknologi Bandung or ITB and Universitas Katolik Parayangan in Bandung. She's involved in a lot of DPDs that, provided by iTELL and also the British Council. And Chris has worked in the language education for over 10 years, bringing fun and creative experience for her students through gamification. That's one of her interests on that. Chris is also a student voice ambassador for Flipgrid. So if you want to know a lot about Flipgrid, just search the social media, then you will find Grace and get to know more of that. Yeah. Okay, Grace, without further ado, then the floor is yours, Grace.
Thank you so much, Pak Jati, for the introduction. And hello, everyone. It's absolutely wonderful to be here this afternoon. And I am overwhelmed with your enthusiasm for joining today's Saturday Tech Talk session on Gamifying Your Language Class. So this afternoon, I will share a bit of my interest with you in my presentation. A short presentation. Let me share my screen. Okay, so turning simple learning activities into games. So let's see. All right, so excited to see lots of you from around the world, not only from Indonesia and Vietnam. Like Pak Jati mentioned, there's several from German and also from Poland, from Peru. Oh, it's really good to see all of you. All right, so yeah. Let's see, so this is me. So I'm just a mere English language instructor in institution and university that Pak Jati already mentioned before. But actually what I really love is I have a really huge passion in gaming. I really love playing games, and I feel like when I'm teaching, I really want to give the students the same sense as when I'm playing as well. I'm into gaming, and yeah, when we see the previous session, there are several of the participants that mentioned, whenever I don't use games in my class, the students won't pay attention to the teacher's explanation. And I wonder, is this really true? And you can say yes or no in the chat box. So let's see if actually our students are really interested into games, just like my students. Okay. Okay, there are some who said yes, and there are some that says not really, yeah. Okay, so some of you said, yeah, they are definitely less engaged if you don't use any games, right? Okay, so yeah. Okay, so especially in online learning. Okay, and thank you for sharing, everyone. There are several of you that mentioned a really specific cases. Yeah. Okay, right. Okay, so what is it about game that student get so addicted on? Why are they so hooked on games? So you can share your thoughts about this. I'm going to share what I found from my students. Okay, so they do say that it is relaxing. So whenever they're playing games, um, it's not like a burden for them. It's okay to make mistake because again, you can start over afterwards. And it's engaging because they don't have many chances to have fun things to do with their classmates at school, besides during break time or after school. And especially right now, it's online classes as well. So they don't get to play with their friends like face to face. So games is kind of like a way for them to play together, engage with their friends, and also able to increase rank. Now, perhaps this is like a more to games, yeah, and not really gamification, but whenever they're playing games, they had fun increasing rank. There's a certain satisfying feeling of achieving a certain level or gaining points through games. So yeah, let's see. Okay, yes, they do prefer games to study, right? Having fun while learning. Okay, so yes, the natural habit of children are playing games, right? Yeah. So I do have some students that whenever they yeah, online, whenever they're online, in a class, online class, they have kind of like a game beside them. So maybe they're not really engaged into the studying, they're more engaged to the game. So yeah, so that's why yeah, especially on the able to achieve something at a certain level or gaining points through games, in a sense, gamification is all about showing progress. So like we know, gamification is adding elements of games and gaming to regular activities that we may not normally think of as games. We saw this in businesses and also in trainings. Yeah, so yeah, usually it's serious, but by adding the elements of games, it can be something that is very motivating and also fun to do. So really quickly, just put in mind the three elements of games, mainly game mechanic, aesthetic, and game thinking. So game mechanic, uh, yeah, when students finish a certain activity, they're usually given grades. We can rename grades into points instead, so it's not like a burden for them. We can provide badges as additional grades or perhaps reward. Yeah. We can rename a session or topic into levels. Yeah. So it's a bit more fun just by renaming certain things. Yeah. Okay, and showing progress chart or leaderboards is also great, so they can know how far they have progressed, and so that they know what their goal is. And aesthetic is getting or setting the feeling of the activity, like giving a story. For example, like perhaps like we are pirates and we are going to find a treasure on an island, and we need to follow the treasure map, and we're going to go through 5 challenges to finally obtain the treasure. Okay, so perhaps for some people it sounds like really extra, like wow, yeah. Maybe for young children, it's great to have like a team, but maybe not so much for the adults. But actually, it can be as simple as maybe giving a background picture on an activity. So it's not always have to be extra. Yeah, so it can be something very simple as well. Just setting the feeling of the game. Now, game thinking is providing us with the feeling, really has a lot to do with the aesthetic. Again, it's kind of like different with asking the students to turn to certain pages in the book, but it's putting the activity into the game context, like whether it is a competition or exploration, or is it a storytelling, or has something to do with cooperation. Yeah, so they enjoy the learning experiences, not because they wanted to get reward, but because they feel successful as learners. Okay, moving on. Obviously, there are quite some things to consider with the gamification, like does the content included with the activity align with the learning targets? Because obviously learning targets is yeah, the thing that we must focus on, right? And then, are the students capable of demonstrating understanding knowledge through the activity? Sometimes maybe it is quite advanced for them, they're not there yet, or is it too simple for them to do, so it's not challenging? So that are yeah, we need to consider what we need to do. Will the students be able to assess and navigate the activity on their own, or should it be done as a whole class activity? Yeah, uh, this is related with the availability of the gadgets and the internet connection, as many participants also mentioned that they have limited internet connection. So the students aren't able to assess certain things or certain activities. So perhaps they can be done in the classroom instead. And then lastly is, when is the appropriate time to do the activity? Whether it's at the beginning as a warm up, or after a certain activity, after a certain learning activity, or is it like a wrap up before the big test? So these are just several things to consider when we are going to go into creating or designing game for our students. Okay, right. So let's jump into it. Okay, so while I'm presenting, you may think of a good topic for to gamify, and then later choose a certain activity to create, and then perhaps can think of like how I can design the learning experience through the tools. Okay, let's see. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to talk about is a Flippity. And I know this has been mentioned several times throughout the Saturday Tech Talk, but it is not for, yeah, it is for a good reason. Yeah, it is for a really good reason. So Flippity may look simple, but it has so much things that you can do with it. It's so easy to use, and it's really quite internet friendly. That's why I feel you can utilize this, and then it can give sense of gamification in your class. There are tons of explore in Flippity, but I will show you what I feel is fun and easy to do. Something that you can do like right away after this. I will divide this into several parts according to the appropriate time to do the activities. Okay, right. So Right, so flippity form warm up or vocabulary building. Okay, so I'll just go through several of this. Yeah, as it's has been mentioned previously as well. We have the random name picker. You can do a lot with this as well. It can be an alternative to wheel of names that I feel if you do have like a gamification in your classroom, you use this, yeah, wheel of names or random name picker. You can pick a name for your students, yeah. Go there. Okay, so just place the names of your students there, and then you can ask them to say certain things. Or what I really like about the random name picker that Flippity has is because they can do also like grouping as well. So we don't have to like ask them, okay, so you pick your own friends in a group, right? So they will pick it for you. You can have like a timer as well. So if you want them to present something or say something in certain time limit, you can do that as well. And then next one is snowman. So this is another name for hangman. But in Flippity, they are called snowman. Again, very simple to use. Just pop up the words into the box and then you can generate your snowman, or maybe you prefer bomb perhaps. So it can like kind of like create like intense feeling, or perhaps you prefer flower. So they have different things, yeah. But again, this is the same thing as what we usually do, hangman. Yeah, so you guess what is the word by providing letters. Yeah. Okay, and then this is a new one. I wonder if you are familiar with Wordle. It's right now it's quite yeah, it is quite popular, perhaps in Twitter. And if you go to Google and then Google Wordle, they will have like a daily word which you need to guess. So they will give you like a 6 try. So you just put in any words, and then yeah, if you can see, if you get the green, then it is the correct letter in the correct place. If you get the gray, then it is a totally yeah, you don't use the letter. If you get yellow, then you know that there is a letter there, but it's not on the correct place. So it's quite fun because you don't know what the word is, and then you have to kind of search for a word. And then later, because you can give like several words for this, so you can ask them like, what are we going to talk about? What are we going to discuss? What topic we're going to discuss today? Okay, so this is fun. You can make your own Wordle. Okay, obviously a crossword puzzle also very fun to use as well. For Flippity, it is you need to print them out. So it's not to be played online, which sometimes is great for us. Yeah, so we can ask them to do the crossword puzzle in the classroom without the internet, so they can discuss with their friends. But you can just like print them out, and then if you notice, there's this button which will randomize it, and so you can create like several sheets of a crossword puzzle. So one group and the other group really cannot really cheat on the other group. So it's quite challenging and it's quite fun and quite fast. Okay, so Next one is for sentence building, for speaking or writing. There are three that I feel like quite fun and exciting to use. First one is Matlab's generator, and then also this has been mentioned several times, the randomizer. Also, last one is manipulatives. See, so the Matlabs, as you know, we can put in like a kind of like story, and then they will get to enter some things that we ask them to put in. Now, in this part, they don't know the story yet, so they can just put in everything here, and then they are presented with the story, the final story, and then they can read it out loud, read them out loud, and then see if whether the story makes sense or not. And most of the time it doesn't make any sense, but it is fun, and it is yeah, it is funny. Yeah, most of the times are funny. Okay, and this is also yeah, last sessions also been mentioned. Yeah, it's great. So it's kind of like wheel of names, but yeah, you can have like a few row of this. I add actually role in the beginning. Okay, so this is same as the last session. You can put in time expression, you can put in some verb, adjective, food or drink, or any nouns that you want, and then you can put in because. So they need to pretend like they are Harry Potter, for example. Harry Potter. Okay, so last year I ate spicy red velvet cupcake because, and then they can add something to answer to this as Harry Potter. So this is just an example, but I feel like the role really gives them something else to think about. So not answering as themselves, but as some other people. All right. So let's see. Manipulatives is actually quite similar to, yeah, you can put in some words and put them into orders. Okay, so usually perhaps in the classroom, you get like sentences, and then you cut them into pieces, and then you put them in the correct order. So you can do this with the manipulatives and see what they come up with. Okay, wrapping up a lesson or semester. The virtual breakout. So this is fun and very simple. Actually, I know it takes a lot of effort to do a virtual breakout activities. Now, Flippity provided something very simple which we can do at the end of the lesson or yeah, semester. We don't have a lot of time to do this, right? We can put it in the end of the semester. We can just yeah, they have to open locks, enter their names, for example, Luisa, and then they have to open a lock, right? They can get clue or hint and then put in their answer. And what's fun with this is after you're done with this, it will be automatically emailed to your email. So once you open all the locks, the result is emailed to the teacher, right? And then you can also see how long they do the activity, which is great. You can do this for individual, or you can do this yeah, together, like as in a group. Okay, Jeopardy is yeah, kind of like a quiz show. It's great for the end of the semester, so you can just kind of like get everything, and then you just put it into one big bank, right? yeah, this is to get ready for the final task. Okay, so speaking of game mechanics, progress indicator is also great. And if you have a really big class, like usually if you're teaching university, you have like up to 60 people perhaps in one class, you can change it into like just groups instead of name of students. In this case, I put like names of students, and then we can see like whether they have done how many tasks, and yeah, we can just like put it there, right? And then they can see, we can give them the links, and then they can see how far they've gone, how many more tasks they should do. All right. This is the same thing as a badge. Like I said, you can give them badges, so they can get yeah, so they can get extra points from there. Okay, so am I running out of time, Pak Jati?
Yeah, just right. Right now it's yeah. Do you, how many slides do you still have?
I can go really quickly. Perhaps I can I have like another like 2 to 5 minutes?
2 minutes.
Two
That will
minutes,
do,
two
because we
minutes.
need the
Okay.
Q&A.
All right. Give me 2 minutes. All right. So yeah, I'll skip this. I'll give it to you later. But actually there's another one that is called Bamboozle, and this is actually done by the one of the English teacher in Vietnam. So shout out for the English teacher in Vietnam. This is your tool. Bamboozle is great because it can give you the aesthetics without having to do a lot. They already have lots of games. They have lots of activities, very nice ideas for you. So you don't have to do a lot. You can just yeah, just go to the bamboozle.com, get your account, and then you can play lots of things. You can create your own game, very simple to do. Yeah, but I think it's the ideas that you can get from Bamboozle that are very versatile. Like for example, I got a really good idea from here, like 3 foods, 3 words, 1 food. So you have to guess like ice, sour, and yellow. What kind of food is that? Right? And then brown, white, water. What is that? So, and then I got the idea, a different point of view from there as well. And there are tons of things that you can do, and you can play from Bamboozle. And you really, yeah, it's free. I use the quiz because it's simple to do. So you can just like kind of like choose a number and then answer. You can do teams, you can change the name of the teams, so it's more exciting. So it gives you the feeling like as in like you're in the game. All right, so okay, so because of time, I will perhaps stop sharing my screen, and then
Okay.
can continue with the question and answer.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Chris. Because of time, it's very interesting. So many games that we can use there. There is just one question before the next speaker. I think this is a very good question. There are some questions we will discuss it later after both of you finish the presentation. Yeah. One is it possible, because you're teaching with college students, is it possible to use games for college students, especially for academic English materials? That's from Farida Nur Rohman. Chris?
Okay, right. So is it possible to use games for college students, especially for academic English material? Yes, absolutely. I do this quite a lot as well. Yeah, like I said, like I mentioned before, sometimes it's just in the in a name, so you can set like goals or like challenges, for example, like once you're done with certain topic or certain lesson, then you can get a reward kind of thing. But also you can do something like crossword puzzle is also great as well. So as in like you can get like terminologies, yeah, and then you can involve videos as well, uh, and then you can involve perhaps timer as well. So again, the play around with the game mechanics, yeah, even though it is just the regular activities, but with those game mechanics, it can turn it into more fun. Perhaps that's my answer, Pak.
Yeah, thank you, Chris. So it's putting the elements of games into the materials. Yeah.
Yeah.
Another questions, but later think about that. I think it's a very good question. Are there any tips of choosing games for competition dasar or learning goals? Not now, Chris. Later,
Okay. All
after
right.
Marrie. Yeah. Now I would like to call Joe. Joe, are you there?
I certainly am, Pagjati. Welcome.
Good.
And welcome everybody to the 8th Saturday Tech Talk, all about gamification. We've had well over 1,000 people registering for the session, and we can see that there's over 330 people watching live right now. So you're all very, very welcome. And thank you so much for all your great questions. We've got lots and lots of questions to put to both our speakers later on. But now the time has come for us to listen to Marrie Aliro. I've never met Marrie face to face, but she is an absolute expert on the use of Genially. So we've had a really nice introduction around gamification, looking at ideas around Flippity and Bamboozle. And now for the next 20 minutes, we're going to see all the different ways in which we can use Genially for gamification, particularly in relation to language learning. So without any further ado, Marrie, thank you so much for agreeing to do this. If you could maybe tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we can start with the presentation. And I will turn off my video now, and the floor is yours for the next 20 minutes.
Thank you very much. I'm going to start sharing my presentation. And first, a little bit about myself. So my name is Marrie Aliro, and I work at Beats Prep School. It's an independent school in the southeast of England in Lisbon. I'm head of French, and I'm also a house mistress. I look after 25 boarders from all over the world. I'm a Genially ambassador, and I'm part of the Scape team, and I'm a collaborator for Sandbox. Scape and Sandbox are creating extension for Genially to make the content more interactive. I'm also admin in the Facebook group Teaching with Genially, and we've got over 6,000 members now. On my presentation, I've put a link to my Padlet with all my creation, my Genially creation. So today I wanted to share with you some games. I've done a few webinars, 3 with Joe, and one for Scape, showing one of the extensions called D&D, and also a show and tell for our Facebook group. So definition of gamification is the use of game design elements and game principle in non-game context. And it can help improve engagement levels, assist in completing certain tasks, improve individual learning, and encourage personal development, which is why I try to use it as much as possible in my lessons. My session is mostly going to be sharing some games with you. With Genially, it allows you to create interactive content, and you can include text, images, videos, websites. You can embed links, you can embed content. Grace mentioned some of the things I embed in my Genially, so you can embed learning apps, wheel of names, Quizlet, etc. And Scape and Sandbox extension allow you to take it even further for gamification, and especially for creating escape games. So with Genially, it's free. You can have a free account. With a free account, you've got access to some templates, not all of them. So I would advise, if you haven't used Genially before, just to use the free account to start with. I now use a paying account because I like having folders, having access to all the templates. But when you get more creative, you don't really need the templates. You can create your own content. So within Genially, there are loads of games, games templates. So these ones I'm going to show you first are games in Genially. So they are board games like this one. So I've started creating on Genially during the lockdown, and I use that in my online lesson in breakout room with one child sharing their screen. So this one is like a board game. So you've got a dice, you've got the counters, and you've got, that was about food. So you've got some pictures and they have to name the item of food in French. This one here is battleship. So each child has one on their screen, and they place their boats, and then they have to guess where it is. And to do the questions, I've used a Skype extension called R&D. So if I click on that button, it's asking you the question. How do you say I love eating fruit? So that's for translation, but it could be used with anything. It could be used for speaking, answering question, pronunciation, reading, anything. So more of the Genially templates. So this one is snake on ladder. So you've got the counters again. And for this one, I've embedded a Quizlet. So you can have your Quizlet embedded in your Genially. And I ask them to answer a question before they can play the dice and move their counter. In this tic-tac-toe game, I've embedded a wheel of name. So I'm not going to play the wheel of name because it makes a lot of noise. So it selects a picture, and I ask them to say the word in French, and then they can place their notes or their crosses. Okay, so these were templates from Genially. Now I am very creative with my Genially, and I like to create my own games. So this one is called Voleur Game, which is the thief. And that was adapted from a game from Nathalie Saint-Martin, which she shared on our Facebook group. So this is very easy, no preparation at all. I just put my class in 3 teams on the board. I've got quite small classes working in the independent school. So I've got 3 teams. I ask them question, could be translation, could be question, and then they have to choose one number. So they get points, or they can get swap, so swap their points with another team. They can get minus, or they can get the thief where they lose all their points. So this is very engaging. They really enjoy playing this game. So I've done different versions. This one here is with piggy banks, and you get euros, different amount of euros. You can swap, you can get your money stolen. And I've embedded a wheel of name for my question, but sometimes I just use it as just asking them question in class. And this one I've used an extension by Sandbox called Dados. So you can create dice with pictures. So again, I ask them the question and they can choose A, B, or C, and they get their points. Okay, so these are other templates I've created, and all my templates are reusable, so anybody can reuse them for their own game. So this one is a Connect 4. So I've created that with a Skype extension called Pickput. So you just click on the color, and then you can just put your color on the board. So again, I ask them to answer a question in French before we can put their counter on the board. Pop-it game is very similar to the normal Pop-it game. So you've got questions and you play in pairs, and you've got to pop, and you must not be the last person to pop the last little button. You're only allowed to pop on one line. The next game I've created, that was an idea from somebody on Twitter. I can't remember whose idea it was. So that's called 11. So this is a pronunciation game. I ask all my class to stand up, and I ask them to read a sentence. They're allowed to read 1, 2, or 3 sentences. So for example, the first person reads the first 3 sentences, I just tick them. Next person reads the next 3. Then you can choose to read 1 or 2. You decide how many you want to read, but the last person, the person who reads number 11, has to sit down, and we just do it again and again just to work on pronunciation. My next template is trapdoor. So I saw one of my colleagues just using the normal trapdoor in a classroom, and I thought I could create a template for Genially. So all they've got to do is select the words they want for their trapdoor. So they just choose their words, and then their partner has to guess their sentence. So if they get it right, if they get their partner's sentence right, they can put a tick, or they can just cross it and just work as a normal trapdoor game. Okay, some more of my templates I've created. So this one is a bingo game. So we were doing rooms in the house. So I asked them to select 6 pictures. So they could choose whichever picture they wanted to. And then on Genially, you can use a pen and they can just cross them off when I call out the pictures. So to call out the pictures, I created a wheel of name and I just played the wheel of name and said the name and they were crossing it. So I used that in lockdown again. So we were just in live lesson and we were all playing together. Blockbusters. So I think Grace showed something on Flippity, which is similar. So for my questions, I've got, So for my question, I've got like cards, which I used with, which I created with RMD from Scape. And again, you can select your color and just put it on your grids and you have to go across. Another one of my games is this one, Les Fléchettes. So that's darts. I haven't used it in class yet. So you select your question. So it could be any question, could be translation or just a question in French. Then you play your dart and you can record your score. So I've got a little scoreboard here for the score. This last one here is a Ludo game. So again, similar, I've got sentences in French and I ask the children to translate into English before playing on the game board. Okay, so that was all my, some more of my templates. So Tetris game. So very similar. I've got here a Quizlet embedded. So I ask them to answer the question on the Quizlet and then they select a reward and they have to put their shape on there and the person to get the most line would be the winner. Notes and crosses. So I asked my student to choose 9 pictures and just to play notes and crosses. So you can just put your notes and your crosses on there. And you have to say the sentences in French, obviously. And this last template I've created is Yahtzee or Yams game. I haven't used it yet. I think it would be good for practicing numbers. So you've got your virtual dice, and you can just play them, and then you've got your scoreboard. So all of these were my own templates I created with Genially. And now I'm going to move on to Sandbox Education. So Sandbox has created loads of different games, very easy to use. So all these examples are in English. They are not mine, they were created by a Sandbox collaborator. This one by Miriam Martinez is very easy to adapt. So you've got pictures and you need to write the correct word. For example, this one is elephant. So I will just choose the correct letter and you can click on next for your next word. This memory game includes sound. So for example, you've got to match up the cards. And this last game from Sandbox Lynx Eye, you've got to select, and you've got sound as well. So you select the word and you've got to find it on there. I'm just going to make it bigger so I can see. So there. So really all these games, I mainly use them in my escape games to be one of the tasks in my escape games, but you can use them on their own as well. They've got loads of different other games, but I won't be able to show you everything today. Another great extension by Sandbox is Dados. So they've created dice and you can just use them as they are. So you've got picture dice, which could be really useful for story cube. And you've got just normal dice for games. So you can use any of these in your games. And another great one from Sandbox is Double. So their example, their template is with Among Us characters. And I've made I've made one here with sports and activities in French. So I asked them to say the sports and the activity in French. So for example, here is je fais de l'équitation, I do horse riding. But I asked them to say in French before they can click je joue au rugby, etc. So there are loads of templates. So now I'm going to move on to escape games because this is what I really like doing, escape games. There are loads of templates in the gamification section of Genially. So all of these are templates for escape game. They are very easy to edit, but it's mainly multiple choice. So if you wanted to make more interactive, you need to use some other extension by Sandbox Soundscape. So these ones are by Sandbox. And the first one I did was in collaboration with Miriam Martinez from Sandbox. The good thing about Genially is you can work in collaboration with people. And that was the first one I did with her. I didn't know anything about this extension. So she really led it, and we just created this game of me coming to London to visit me. And there are different tasks. So she's traveling to London to meet me, and then she's got different tasks. So I'm just going to show you one of the tasks. So the first task here, that was challenge 1. So you have to complete the challenge. We're getting on the bus. So the children have to write the correct order for the dialogue, and then they get a reward. When you get all the rewards, you complete the mission. So this extension Breakout is very easy to use for Genially. So if you go on the Sandbox website, I've put a link here, you can just adapt it. So I've created some easy games. I use these with my younger children. So this one, the class was for year 1 French, year 1 and 2 French. So we were learning about ice cream in French. So first we went through them pronunciation, and then they had the little game. So that's me selling ice cream, and you've got to find the money. You've lost all your money in the park, so you've got to find €2.80 to get an ice cream. So I'll just show you one of the mission. So I've used Sandbox games on that. So if I go like this one, that's the game I was showing you earlier about the memory game. And I didn't put sound on this one, but I could put sound. And they just have to match up. Once they've matched up, they get the reward. So they get the €1. And then you can, so you've got €1, you need to get all the rest of the money. If you go back to the map, you can see you've already completed this one, and you just have to get the new one. So I create loads of games like this with Breakout, which is a very easy template to use. If you want to make something where you collect objects in different rooms to use them in other rooms, I use an extension called Take It by Escape, which is a little bit more complicated. So I'm just going to show you one example. I've got 2 examples on there. I'll share my presentation with you so you can see. So this one is a little game. So you've got, I've left you a message on my computer, and you've got to find the computer. So if you go to the first room, you can't get in because you need a key. So you've got to explore all the rooms to get some items. So if you go in the kitchen, there's a sponge, and we will have to find out all of this. I'm going to have to use the sponge in another room, and you're going to have to use it in there to clean the bath. And there's a secret word, which is Soleil, which will be a password in my game later. So that's for escape game. And this one was a game I created for a competition by Escape on Team Luden. So this one is all about the weather, and there were different missions, and once you complete the mission, you get all the ingredients to, just going to move of the sun, you get all the ingredients to get the weather back for spring. I also like to use real escape games. So this one I created for a special day in my school for taster pupils. So children were coming to the school to have a look at the school. And I mix Genially with real escape games. So I have my wolf in a cage with 2 padlocks, and you had to find the code for the padlock. So one was with 4 direction and one was with 4 colors. There were loads of different clues. So you had to search loads of padlocks, but also they had access to an iPad, and with the iPad they could access one of the Genially games, which would give them one of the codes. That's also really effective to do escape games like this. Next thing I wanted to talk to you about is deck toys. I'm not as good as with Genially with deck toy. I've used it a little bit. You can create a learning path. So I'm going to show you an example. So if I sign in as a guest student, so this is one I created about sports activity and instrument. So if you do the start button, then you've got your flashcard and you've got the sound, so you can practice the pronunciation. Once you've completed the flashcard, you can go and do the next task, which this one was a matching activity. So j'aime le rugby, I like rugby, so they match them up. Once you complete all the activities, you get to the end of the path. So with deck toy, there are loads of different activities you can have. You can have things like the flashcards, jigsaw, matching. Then you can even embed videos, and there are loads of tutorial online if you want to use deck toy. I find it quite tricky at the beginning, but once you get used to it, it's quite quick to create. Learning apps, somebody mentioned it in the chat earlier, and I know people have talked about it in previous webinar. I think it's a great tool, and you can embed in Genially. So I use that quite a lot. I'm not going to show you learning apps because I don't think I'll have time to do everything. I've got 2 other recommendations for gamification. So Bluecat, you've got different game modes, and you can play solo or you can play live. My pupils really like the live Bluecat. We just do a game in class, and it's very competitive, and they really like it. It's very easy to create, and if you've got Quizlet, you can just import your Quizlet onto the Bluecat and do one of the games. It's very difficult to show you now how it works, but if you try in class, the first time I just had to try in class to see how it was working. It's similar to Kahoot and things like that. And the other one is GameKit, which I've only discovered this year, and it's really good. You get just a few games for a free version. It's very competitive as well, and quite similar to Bluecat. And that's it for me. Am I in time?
Perfectly in time. That was amazing, Marrie. As I expected, we've had so many lovely comments in the chat and so many questions. I don't know where to start really, but let's open up to the for the Q&A section. That was amazing, absolutely amazing. Okay, no, you're welcome. Quite a few people have been asking about whether it's possible for you to share the presentation.
Yes.
Could you put the link in the chat if that's possible?
And
yes, how easy is it for people to adapt the material to, say, put it into a different language? Is that a straightforward thing?
Yes, very easy to adapt. We have in our group teaching with Genially, if you get stuck, you can always ask us for advice, and there's always somebody who knows the answer. It's very easy. You just reuse the template and then adapt it. I'm going to share my presentation with you now.
Thank you so much.
And
please mention the Facebook group again so people can connect with you that way as well.
The Facebook group is called Teaching with Genially. And there's lots of people who are very good with Genially, and you always get somebody to give you an answer. Sometimes you get stuck on something very simple and somebody can get the answer. I do as well.
No problem. Okay, so let's do some questions, particularly around Genially. So first of all, as I said, we've got lots and lots of questions. I can't do everyone's questions, but let's do a few. Is it possible for the students to work on the same Genially at the same time, i.e. can they compete who clicks on the link's eye first? No, that's not possible. So the way around it for me when I was in lockdown, I had one student for doing the board games, for example, one student in charge of the Genially. It might be possible, but I don't know. I think I've read about it, but I haven't used it like that. So I'll have to research.
I don't
Okay.
think so.
Fantastic. Another good question. When is the best time to apply games in learning activities? Should they be played just for ice breaking or whole class activities through the main body of the lesson?
I think it depends what you want to do. I use them for speaking a lot. I use the escape game at the end of a module to revise all the vocabulary. So depending what you want to create, I think they can be used anytime.
Okay, lovely. I know I'm doing these sort of quick fire questions, but if that's okay. So another great question. How does Genially collect the data from students' work after they've played the games? Do they collect anything? Do you get like a spreadsheet or anything like that so you can see how they've got on, or how do you evidence their work?
It doesn't collect students' results or anything. So if you want to do that, you need to insert like a Google form at the end, or you can
Right.
ask them to do a screenshot, but it doesn't collect any evidence.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Okay, I think we'll open it up to Pagjati and to Grace, if that's okay, because we've got some more questions to do. That's fantastic. So if I can maybe put the next question to Grace, if that's okay, which is the following. Let me just. Well, we had a question around how long does it take to put these sorts of activities together. Grace, do you want to let us know, say for example, if you're making flippity activities, how long does it take to make these activities?
Okay, well, thank you for the question. I feel like it's different for everyone. Like, I'm really particularly, I cannot do it anything if I feel like the picture is not collected yet, and like if I don't feel right with the design, everything. But for some people there, who are like, I just want to do the activity. I just want to go forward and then do the the design, activity design. It can be quite fast. Like for example, the flippity that I made, like for the Wordle is really fast. I just find several words that are related with the topic and then just put it there, and then it's done for like seconds. Like,
Yeah,
it's
that's
really
great.
fast.
And
So
there are instructions, aren't there? There are instructions for every activity, so you just follow the instructions, and
exactly.
it's very straightforward. Yeah.
That's right. So it's really depend on the kind of activity, and also um, like whether you're very detailed and everything. Like for example, if you're doing a virtual breakout, it probably will take quite some time, because you will have to think of like the aesthetic, and then the game thinking and everything. So with Genially, I think with Marrie, I think it helps a lot with that as well. So it can save some time as well. So yeah, I think it's
Fantastic.
different for everyone.
Fantastic. So talking of Genially, Marrie, what sort of time would you spend in creating these sorts of amazing activities that you've been sharing with us? And I know we're very grateful that you're sharing the presentation so people can then adapt your really hard work. But can you give us an idea on the sorts of time that it would take if you wanted to make something like this from scratch?
From scratch, it takes a long time, but I like doing it. So all the
Right.
escape game, for an escape game, it would take me, I don't know, probably 5 hours to do an escape game. It's really long. But if you use a template, if you just have to adapt it, it's not going to take you very long. By just finding the idea, and the worst is finding all the pictures. The pictures, I'm very peculiar with the pictures, so if they're not right, it just takes me a long time to find them.
That's amazing. And where do you get the inspiration from? Is it just by being inspired by sort of different games and thinking how I could make that into a Genially game, or are you inspired by people tweeting about examples and then you adapt them? Are those the main sort of ways?
Yes, a lot on Twitter, a lot of people having ideas and then giving me other ideas. And in the group Teaching with Genially, people are sharing good ideas as well. So
that's amazing. That's amazing. Fantastic. I think we'll go for a more general question now for both of you, if that's okay. It's a great question. Is there any social influence when using games for learning in the class? I'm afraid the game causes relationship problems and social disconnection. Wow. What would you say about that, Grace? What's happening in our languages classrooms? We're creating relationship problems and social disconnection by playing games. Is that a true statement, do you think?
Oh, Grace is frozen.
I think. Oh no, Grace
sorry.
is back. We lost you for a minute. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We were disconnected from you talking about social disconnection. Go on.
Okay. So yeah, that is a challenge I feel with gamifying the classroom. I mean, we really need to know our students, like what they like and what they're interested in. Sometimes we cannot really force certain games that we like. We need to find out kind of like what do they like. I mean, because if it is like the correct or the suitable game for them, it really can bring the flow. I mean, like they can be focused, concentrated, and they can be in a sense like addicted to it. Like they can spend a lot of time playing and figuring out things without us having to kind of like force them to do a lot of things. So I feel like it's finding the right one for the students. So we do need to talk a lot with them and share a lot of things, and perhaps finding new interesting things that that the young people likes.
Fantastic, lovely. And then Marrie, do you find something similar? Do you find that there's ever arguments or fights breaking out about so and so is cheating or this isn't fair, or how do you deal with those sorts of situations if they happen?
Well, I think because I teach younger children, so my pupils are 5 to 13 years old, it's really important to play games to teach them how to take turns and play by the rule. I don't really have this kind of situation in my school where they're cheating. They are quite good, actually.
Fantastic. I'm sure they absolutely love your games. I'm sure they look forward to your lessons, Marrie. It's amazing. It's fantastic.
Thank you.
I think we've got enough time maybe for another one or two questions, if that's all right, as you're both here. Let's have a quick look. So okay, one particularly, if that's okay for Marrie, is there some sort of coding involved in some of your templates? There are some features that don't exist on the Genially content. The R&D is very interesting, and how do you learn about these bits of code that you can put in? What would you recommend in relation to adding Scape tools, for example?
So yeah, all the coding is done by Scape. I don't know anything about coding, so we've created. With Julia Morris, we've created translation of the Scape tools, and they are we've got tutorial how to use these Scape tools. You don't need to know about coding. I don't. I use their codes, and you just have to follow some steps. So I think if you go on my Padlet, I think there's a link, but I can share the link of the translation of the Scape tools. I'll find it in a minute and share it.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. That's absolutely brilliant. It's been an amazing webinar. Bhagjati, do you want to maybe put a couple of questions as well from the ones I've been collecting, or wrap us up as we are officially over time now?
Yeah, but just in general, there are a lot of questions asking whether is it really appropriate for learning, and I think it's yes, because it's keep motivating. And some people on the chat that's very good comments about gaming, and they are willing to try. And thank you very much, Marrie, and also Grace, for this presentation. Yeah, I think that's what I can say, Joe.
Fantastic. So just on that point, that's fantastic. Thank you so much, Bhagjati. So just on that point, could you maybe, both of you, if it's okay, just summarize how you feel these types of games are helping the learning? Is it more to do with motivation, or is it really helping their actual learning? Grace, can I ask you first, please?
Okay, sure. Thank you. Yeah, as someone who is really into gaming, I feel like I mean, like whenever I play a game, I feel like I'm challenged to move forward. And learning language itself is kind of like a video game. Like you have to learn certain things to go to the next level, to learn something else. So it's great that using game that we can improve a lot of things. Like it can not only our skill, but also can bring it can sorry.
That's all right. We lost you for a minute. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I was saying it can teach us how to do team building, and then also it can help us to follow some rules, like take a look at the instruction and then sticking to that to finish an activity, and also teaching us to be resilient. So like moving forward and learning new things. So I think it is so worth it to do game in the language classroom.
Superb, lovely. A lovely response. Marrie, what would you say about how the games enhance learning? Is it just about engaging students?
I would say it's very engaging for students, and also it's really important for them to learn how to play games. And with the escape game, there's loads of finding information and just working on thinking skills and things like that. So I think it's really important to use it in language teaching.
Absolutely. And I think that's a perfect way to stop. When we're focusing on the learning, we're not focusing on the technology, we're focusing on the learning. Excellent, superb. Well, thank you so much to Grace and to Marrie for your inspiring presentations. It's been a wonderful Saturday Tech Talk. We only have 2 to go, but there we are. You can watch the recording back as many times as you want to. I'll be uploading it as per normal onto my YouTube channel, which is available at JoeDale100. Thank you so much for the fantastic questions from everybody. So many people coming along today. We've still got 340 people in the room watching live as well. It's been an absolute pleasure. Bhagjati, do you want to wrap us up, please?
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much, Joe. And thank you very much, Marrie. Thank you very much, Grace. Thank you very much, everyone. We still have 2 more to go in our 10th series of webinars. So we're looking forward to meet you again later, everyone. And let's move on about certificate. There's people always asking about certificate. You can get the certificate here in the link provided. Yeah, the exit ticket, you will get the certificate. Just go to bit.ly/exit minus STT8. Yeah, that's in the chat box. So you get that, fill in the simple questionnaire, and then at the end, you will get your certificate. Yeah, take a picture if you're in the YouTube channel, or you can click right now in the chat box. Yeah, another information for our next webinar. Our next webinar is going to be 2 weeks from now. So that's going to be February 19th. Will be Ludi Jones and Celia Anjarani. Yeah, they're going to talk about feedback. I think feedback is a good topic. Personalizing feedback for our students or your students. Yeah, so it's about giving feedback that's personalized, not just say, thank you very much, good job, well done. It's more than that, yeah, using technology. So looking forward to seeing you. And this is the link. You can register starting from now, but don't forget to come live. And also will be broadcasted. Oh yeah, so many people asking about recording. Again, recording will be in Joe's channel, and also will be an iTELL or British Council channels. It's going to be there with other webinar series. Okay, thank you. Then this is online learning then now in the future direction. Please go to Jogja. This is face-to-face. Come to Jogja, Joe. And also Marrie for joining us face-to-face conference. And it's going to be a lot of featured tech talk. This is for teachers, from teachers. We're going to have a lot of highlight practical tips, not necessarily from research or very theoretical. No, it's practical tips that we can explore and bring it that into the classroom. The deadline for the abstract, it's still the 14th of February. So you still have got time to join this. Yeah. Thank you very much again, 14th February, and the conference is going to be later in July, 7th and 8th of July. Yeah, you can go to our website and the complete information is there to get the information and submitting your abstract. Yeah. Okay, everyone. Thank you very much. So come back in the next 2 weeks with Celia and Judy. Ludi Jones will talk about personalizing feedback. Yeah. Thank you and goodbye for now. Have a nice weekend. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.